CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
There is a cougar on the prowl in central Saanich, leaving a trail of dead farm animals in its wake. First, a sheep was killed at a farm on Welch Road, and then this morning, 7 goats were discovered mauled to death nearby. CTV's Louise Hartland is in central Saanich tonight and joins us now live by phone with the latest. Louise?
Andrew, it is being described as a massacre by the BC Conservation Service. This morning, a farmer woke up to his field. He had 10 goats this morning, or so he thought. 7 of them were dead when he got to the field this morning to take a look at them. One was half eaten. The other 6, barely a scratch on them. They just appeared to be dead. He at first thought that a dog was the one that caused the devastation on the farm. But then after consulting with the Central Saanich Police Department and conservation was called in, it was confirmed that these animals were killed by a cougar. And as you mentioned, there was also a sheep that was killed just a couple of mornings before, also confirmed by a cougar. And we're actually learning now that 4 other sheep have been killed on Wallace Drive at a farm, those also suspected of being killed by a cougar. So we're learning more about this story this evening, Andrew, and we'll bring you more details as they become available.
Are conservation officers having any luck tracking the animal?
Well, Andrew, they're planning to set up a trap and try and bait the animal back. Because some of the goats were left untouched, BC Conservation believes that what this animal was doing is leaving them and then will return again to feed on those remaining carcasses. So the farmer actually buried those goats this morning. BC Conservation is asking them to dig up at least one of the carcasses. They'll set up a trap. They'll also set up a camera in hopes of catching this animal.
All right, Louise Hartland live in central Saanich tonight. Thanks for the update. A truck has crashed on the Malahat, causing backups in both directions. The white pickup hit the center median just past Goldstream Park around 4 this afternoon. Lanes are still open, but traffic is crawling by. It's not clear what caused the crash, but injuries are not believed to be serious. Police say the man accused of stabbing another man at a Nanaimo trailer park was on parole after a murder conviction. Police arrested the 60-year-old yesterday afternoon after a man was stabbed during an argument over property maintenance. Teddy Antoine was on life parole after being convicted of a 1970 murder. His parole has now been revoked and he is in police custody. The victim was treated for his wounds at Nanaimo Regional General Hospital and is expected to recover. NDP leader Adrian Dix says if he was premier, he would withdraw from the federal government's review process of the Northern Gateway pipeline. Dix says if the NDP is elected during his first week as premier, he will set up a British Columbian environmental assessment of the project. He says he would serve the Harper government with 30 days' notice to terminate the 2010 pipeline deal that would carry crude from Alberta's oil sands to Kitimat until First Nations and communities felt their voices were being heard.
It's time the British Columbians took responsibility for this issue, and that's what we're saying we should do today. That the position of the government of British Columbia has been consistently to abdicate responsibility, and you do that by making a decision in British Columbia, in the interests of British Columbians, about this question.
The NDP leader says the project carries both financial and environmental risks. Dix says so far the province has failed at every stage of the Enbridge application process and even signed away BC's right to review the project. Premier Christy Clark fired back today, saying the first environmental assessment isn't even complete.
No, they decided that that they knew the answer to this before there were any facts, before there was any process. They decided that they were going to oppose it before it had even gone through one environmental review process. And now they're saying they want 2. I'm not sure how they think that that's going to change things when they made their decision for a very political reason, just to play politics before the project even went through a day of hearings.
Clark says she has been very clear. In order for the pipeline to be approved, the province must have the best oil spill response on land and water, while including First Nations and getting our fair share of revenue. The environmental review process of the project has been underway since January, and the panel has been given until the end of next year to finish its report. A well-known Victoria businessman with a big heart is dead at age 87. John Chu suffered a heart attack on Sunday. The successful businessman and philanthropist is being remembered for building one of the island's largest excavation companies, Chu Excavating, and supporting many charities in the capital region, including the David Foster Foundation. His family says no matter who you are, Chu made you feel part of the family.
Giving back to the community and treating his employees exceedingly well. He wanted the employees to feel like they were part of a company that was going to be here for them as long as they could be, and as long as they wanted to work. And we've had people that have been here as long as 55 years. And we have many second-generation employees. So it was very important to him.
Chu built his business from the ground up and always said he saw setbacks in life as opportunities to grow. Chu leaves behind his wife Shirley, 4 children, and 4 grandchildren. Canadian Blood Services also needs your help tonight before its blood supply reaches a critical low. Volunteers were rolling up their sleeves and donating blood at the Canadian Blood Services clinic in Saanich today. The clinic says donations are down this time of year because many people are away on summer holidays, which is raising concerns of running dry. The clinic is asking you to take 5 minutes out of your day to make a big difference in someone's life.
And as we approach one of the last summer long weekend here on Labor Day, we're obviously interested in getting donors to come in and donate blood before the holiday. After is fine as well. And looking at becoming a regular blood donor is really important. A couple of times a year regularly helps us meet the needs of the hospitals. It's really important.
If you want to donate, the Saanich Road Centre is open every second Saturday as well. Mobile clinics will be making the rounds in Sydney, Esquimalt and Souk. To book an appointment, go to blood.ca. The winds of change are coming to BC Ferries as it gets ready to cut weekend sailings to save money. Ferries says it will start cutting back on Saturday sailings on the Tsawwassen-Duke Point route come October as it returns to its fall schedule. The first sailing on Saturdays will be at 7:45 a.m. from either side, with the last boat leaving at 3:15 in the afternoon. The Tsawwassen-Duke Point sailings have recently been less than 20% full on weekends. BC Ferries says the cuts will save around $1 million a year.
Yes, this is a cost-saving measure. When we look at the utilization on Saturdays on these sailings that we will be reducing, they had about a 20% capacity utilization. So knowing that customers have the option to take one of the other 2 routes, we wanted to make this change so that we can save some dollars.
BC Ferries says by making these cuts, it will help cut operating costs, which in turn will prevent ferry rates from rising. Missouri Congressman Todd Akin refuses to back out of the Senate race, saying fellow Republicans are overreacting to his comments about rape and pregnancy. Republican vice presidential candidate Paul Ryan asked Akin to leave the race earlier this week. Akin caused outrage after saying women's bodies had a way to prevent pregnancy in cases of legitimate rape. Akin has now been asked not to go to the Republican convention in Tampa next week. Akin says despite a lack of money and support, he's still running. Homeowners west of Kamloops are packing their bags and leaving as a wildfire grows out of control. A thick plume of smoke can be spotted kilometers above the Caribou region as more than 40 firefighters try to battle the fire in BC's southern interior. An evacuation order has forced around 40 people out of their homes, but firefighters say the houses are not in immediate danger. The road traveling in and out of the area is. Firefighters say the blaze has spread 1 square kilometer within hours. 27 new wildfires have been reported in the Kamloops Fire Center since yesterday. A Vancouver scientist is hopping on board to help NASA dig up answers on its next big mission to Mars. Professor Catherine Johnson of the University of British Columbia is part of a team that will send a stationary lander to the planet in 2016. The team is being called InSight and was hand-selected by NASA this week. The robotic lander will drill several meters into the surface to help scientists learn more about the Martian core.